This is Josh Bycer from GameWisdom.com. I hope you enjoyed this Critical Thought, your daily discussion on game design. Welcome to today's Critical Thought. This is a special one. This is going to be our final one of 2016. It is New Year's Eve as we speak. Here are some celebratory fireworks for you using the cutting edge of graphics, as you can see. So, for today, we're going to take a breather and sort of talk about some of the major things from 2016 and a look into 2017. It's been a very interesting few months since I started doing these critical thoughts, and I think they've become one of the more popular features here on the YouTube channel, and especially adding more content over on Game Wisdom. So even though this is going to be our last topic for 2016, I've already begun looking into the future for 2017. Like I always say, if you have any suggestions for future topics, either relating to game design or the industry in general, please let me know in the comments below. I've already had my list with other suggestions, and as we wrap up the best of 2016 list in the next few days, I'll be looking into those to sort of tie into upcoming posts. So again, any more topics, be sure to let me know. If you haven't voted for the 10,000, for the 1,000 Let's Play, your choices are again a Zachtronics play, a play of a grand strategy game from Paradox, or a play of one of the RPGs from Bethesda. We already have one vote for Zachtronics, so if you have a chance, be sure to leave your suggestion on one of the critical thoughts. Now, I've already done my wrap-up of 2016. We did the live show a few days ago. And if you haven't watched that yet, that's of course available here on the channel. So for today, I want to talk a little bit more about what we're looking at, what I'm going to be interested into 2017. First, as always, I want to keep my eye out on any new upcoming indie games, especially from either first-time studios or the ones who have been around for a while, and see if they can keep that momentum going. I'm very much interested in Clay Entertainment's next game, Oxygen Not Included, and I keep saying it, but I am eagerly awaiting playing Cuphead, which I've been excited about for the last few years. I'm also going to keep an eye on Clockwork Empires. Even though I consider it my most disappointing game of 2016, I really hope Gaslamp can improve on things and add a lot of the functionality that's been kind of left on the cutting room floor. Also, for those of you watching, if there is any upcoming indie games or titles in general that you're excited about, or you think that I would be interested in taking a look at for the site and such, please let me know, because I'll see if I can get in touch with them and maybe get a press copy or something along those lines. Also in 2017, the other big trend I'm looking into, or going to be paying attention to, is VR. As we talked about a few months ago with the VR critical thought, we've seen the release of the Vive, the Rift, PSVR, and I'm sure other ones which I'm not remembering or have even heard of yet. But what this means going forward is that 2017 is going to be the first year where we actually have a VR market. And I'm curious to see what that's going to mean in terms of the video game industry. As I said on the last critical thought, I'm somewhat still pessimistic about what VR is going to bring to gaming. Now, with that said, of course, there's still a lot of exciting trends and functionality for AR and for outside gaming usage, as we've said, with like simulators, medical training, stuff like that. But VR, at least from when it was originally pitched for the Rift and such, was meant to be for, the next wave or the next evolution for video games. And I'm going to be curious to see what that will actually mean for 2017. Whether it will make or break. For those of you watching who have been keeping an eye on VR, are there any interesting or unique games coming out that you're particularly excited about with VR or even AR? When it comes to the mobile side of things, I think one of the bigger things we're trying to keep an eye out for is how things are going to improve, if at all. A few weeks ago, we did a critical thought on sort of the rise of microtransactions and the loot box system, and that move away from pay or wait. And it's still going to be telling if the mobile market can continue to grow or if they've ran out of ideas. like we said with a few other critical thoughts and podcasts, we really haven't seen too much real innovation when it comes to the mobile and free-to-play market. Everyone seems to be copying the same trends or the same monetization models. As you know, we've had discussions about whether or not the mobile side is heading for a bust. And I think 2017 will be another year to keep an eye out for what is going to happen. Now, another thing that's sort of, I guess, special around here is the idea behind video game gambling machines. I reported on this at the end of October, I believe. And they've been put around here in New Jersey, and there still has been any war whether or not they are doing good or bad. But if things do go well for them, it will be very telling to see what that means going forward for either other casinos or for the game industry at large. But unfortunately, there's not much to say about that. One second, need a quick sip. Now, of course, the other big news that will be out, I think fairly soon, at least into 2017, is of course the Nintendo Switch. This is Nintendo once again breaking further away from the other consoles. And I know there's been some very well-received buzz for it. But we'll need to see whether or not that's going to translate into not only initial sales, but sales going forward. Because as we've seen with both the Wii and sort of with the Wii U, that they've had a decent launch, but they've had trouble with keeping that momentum going throughout the year or years. Now, I'm definitely excited about it. I have no idea if I'll get a press copy, but I will certainly be keeping an eye out for how it's going to do. Speaking of Nintendo, there's of course, we're still trying to follow what's going on with Super Mario Run. I know for the first few days it had a very impressive launch, but there hasn't been much news out of it yet, or since. And it's going to be interesting to see what Nintendo's going to do else in the mobile market. We've talked about their pay-to-start or free-to-start games, but if this is Nintendo's sort of way going forward into mobile gaming, we still haven't seen what this is going to mean in the coming year, and if any of that will translate into the 3DS or vice versa. Other than that, I'm trying to think if there's any other major trends. Of course, there's still what will happen with Windows 10, if Microsoft will do anything more in terms of trying to bridge that gap between console and PC. I'm kind of curious to see how the PlayStation Pro is going to do, and what this will spell for a PS5. Of course, there has not been any new consoles, other than, of course, the Switch, in the near future. And it's going to be interesting to see what this will mean in terms of the console market, if we'll still see, like, every few years a new console model. I think we've talked about this before. If not, I know I mentioned this on the Perceptive podcast, but we're going to reach a point hardware-wise where there's just not much more we can do other than, making graphics a little bit sharper or making things a little bit faster. And it's going to be interesting what's going to happen at that point, especially for Sony and Microsoft, who have been banking on their hardware for the last few console cycles. This has always been one of the reasons why Nintendo has kind of operate outside of the same niche, as they've never really focused on hardware superiority. They've been, of course, doing aesthetics and their design. Now, with the Switch, of course, they're going for uniqueness rather than, again, a hardware powerhouse. And I'm kind of waiting for that point where we'll stop seeing consoles and if things will change any more on that front. On the PC side of things, in terms of games and such, I really don't know. I play so many games these days that it's hard for me to keep track of what's new. I usually find out about a game either like a few weeks before it comes out or even like a day or so, depending upon what my friends will post. Which is why I said earlier, if you know of any other great games that are coming out, please let me know. And again, as we've said before, for every great game we played, there's probably a dozen or so we've missed. I know with the Steam sale, which, of course, this being New Year's Eve, we still have, I think, 2 days left before the sale runs out. So we'll see if there's any more last-minute purchases. Other than that, I think we'll wrap things up for today. Again, I hope you guys have a great New Year, and I really do mean it when I say thank you so much for coming on, watching these videos, and liking and subscribing to the content. as we head into 2017, of course, the next goal for the channel is hopefully to hit 10,000 subscribers. Like I said, while Fame and Fortune hasn't hit yet, I hope it will soon. And for me personally, 2017 is going to be the year, I guess, of my presentations. I've already announced I'm going to be doing one at a local library in March. And next week I'll be contacting more of the libraries around here, sort of catching up after, of course, the big 2 weeks of Christmas, the holiday season, and New Year's. And I'm going to see if we can get anything more locked in. And if I do, I will certainly let you guys know. So, once again, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to check back daily for more great content here and on GameWisdom.com, where we examine the art and science of games. Before I go, one last question for you folks. Are there any other interesting trends or games that you guys are particularly excited about into 2017? I know there are games we haven't mentioned yet, like the new South Park game, From Honor, that third-person sort of future past game for the PlayStation 4 that I am completely blanking on right now, but I'm sure will be very exciting when it comes out, and of course a lot more. But for today, once again, thank you so much for watching. Have a great New Year's Eve, and I'll catch you tomorrow in 2017. Take care. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and of course share with your friends. It always helps out. For daily posts on all manner of game design and industry topics, check out game-wisdom.com. To support the site and everything that I do, be sure to check out the Patreon campaign. If we can hit goals, it will mean more content for everyone to enjoy, and I'll be able to support myself and my household. If you want to follow me, you can find me on Twitter at GW for updates throughout the day and random thoughts from me. And lastly, you can find me on Twitch right over there at GW for daily streams most nights around 10 Eastern. Thanks again for watching the video, and be sure to check out more great content coming to the Game Wisdom channel real soon.